Hello all, and welcome to tonight's beer review, which I'm dubbing we're coming along to the sweet yet sour end review. Why? Because, well, there's very few reviews to do left, and I'm mostly doing sours. Why? Because, well, it's a style I've come to love over time, because it's light and refreshing, especially in this hot summer weather. And so, I've kind of been saving them for last. So what are we reviewing today? We are reviewing a brewery that I've never reviewed before. This is St. Archer's Brewing Company. And this is their Peach Gose. So let's read the label and their stuff on here. Modeled after the tart beers of northern Germany, this session beer is a perfect drink for the outdoors. Crisp, fruity esters play alongside the salinity from Himalayan pink salt and the spice from ground coriander. With Pilsner and wheat malts as the backbone, we allow the use of lactobacillus to really shine through, providing you with an easy-to-drink, refreshing tart ale. By adding peach puree to this beer, the tart front end is balanced by the soft fruit sweetness that only a nice stone fruit can provide. This is 4.0 ABV, so fairly light, and I had a few cans of this last night, and it's definitely more of the New World style Gose, in which the sourness, sour tartness, and saltiness are really, really amped up. So, let's get to it, shall we? This brewery is out of San Diego, by the way. Okay, pours cloudy yellow, a little bit darker than your average Gose, and cloudier than your average Gose, with a fizzy, quickly receding white head that is redolent of funk, wheaten funk, lactobacilli funk, sour tartness, hard minerality, and a hint of peach, very much a hint, buried under, the funkiness, sourness, and the saltiness. Don't really see much in the way of the pinkness from the pink salt, but it is extremely cloudy, extremely carbonated. So probably an unfiltered Gose. Aren't all Gose supposed to be unfiltered technically? Light and refreshing on the palate. Saltiness that shows up in the finish, particularly. Big blast of tartness in the front. It explodes in the mids. There's some sweetness there. You don't, excuse me, you don't really detect it until the finish there, kind of underneath the saltiness, around the edges of it. And pretty much peach, that's where the peach flavor kind of shows up. It's almost more like a hint of peach, really just a hint. Other than that, it is pretty much dominated by intense, American-style Gose flavors. Heavy tartness, heavy saltiness, not too much coriander. Coriander's more in the nose, in the mid to finish. Kind of as a top note in the mid to finish. It's also in the mids too, if you're willing to kind of suss it out. But definitely there in the finish. Just hint of peach, a ghost of sweetness on the tongue. along with, you know, the residual tartness and the saltiness. All in all, not overly complex, but the Gose style isn't supposed to be very complex. It is very intense. Like I said, this is very New World style sour, in which the sort of sweetness is kind of minimized and the saltiness and sourness is intensified. And generally, that's how you can say American versus Old World. Anything American, they'll take those flavors, traditional flavors of a style, and just kind of amp it up to 11. Which has its, you know, drawbacks and advantages. Some people don't find, you know, New World style sours to be all that interesting, and I'm guessing it's very much a sort of palate thing going on there, which if you're very sensitive to either salt or sour, it can really just overwhelm anything else. Me, I'm not so sensitive, so I can kind of still sense things underneath it, and, you know, it just becomes a different sort of you know, background on which the rest of the beer kind of play on. As it warms up, the peach becomes a little bit more apparent in the finish and in the mid to finish. Still very much a second or third note to the rest of the flavors. Like the style is quite poundable, quite drinkable. It would not be one that I would go and introduce a newbie to the style for. I would definitely reserve Autre Vez as the introduction. Even Autre Vez has a chance of being rejected. I think I brought Autre Vez to a family gathering, and, you know, I think nobody finished a bottle of it other than me. And some people just lasted one sip. Myself, I like sours. They've grown on me. So, St. Archer. Recently seen them being released here in Hawaii. So, this is a special release, by the way, so it is not part of their regular line. It's fairly recent, so it'll probably still be in stores for a few more months. I believe this was brewed in April. So, not too long, relatively speaking, end of April, beginning of May. So, get it while you can if you enjoy Goses. It's not cheap, but, you know, it's cheaper than a lot of other sours I have seen being released, so it's definitely a one to go out and try. And that's your beer review for tonight, folks. Prost.